This is a demonstration of exercise 837, identifying and analyzing financial statement effects of stock transactions. Powell Corporation reports the following transactions relating to its stock accounts in the current year, and the problem asks us to use the financial statement effects template to indicate the effects from each of these transactions. On February 3rd, Powell issued 40,000 shares of $5 par value common stock at $27 cash per share. So the first thing we need to do is to determine the proceeds from the sale of the 40,000 shares at $27 per share, and that amount would be $1,080,000. The next thing we need to do is to determine the par value of the 40,000 shares at $5 per share, and that amount is $200,000. Then to determine the additional paid-in capital, we take the proceeds of $1,080,000 and we subtract the par value of $200,000, and that gives us additional paid-in capital of $880,000. On the financial statement effects templates, we would increase cash by $1,080,000, and we would increase contributed capital by the same amount. When we look at our T accounts, we see that we would have a debit to cash for $1,080,000, a credit to common stock for $200,000, and a credit to additional paid-in capital $880,000. On February 27th, Powell issued 9,000 shares of $50 par value, 8% preferred stock at $88 cash per share. So again, we need to determine what the proceeds from the sale of the 9,000 shares at $88 per share would be, and that is $792,000. Next, we need to determine what the par value of the 9,000 shares is at $50 per share, and that's $450,000. To determine the additional paid-in capital, we take the proceeds of $792,000 and we subtract the par value of $450,000, and we get $342,000. On the financial statement effects templates, we would increase cash by $792,000 and we would increase contributed capital by the same amount. On our T accounts, we see that we would have a debit to cash for $792,000, a credit to preferred stock for $450,000, and a credit to additional paid-in capital for $342,000. On March 31st, the problem states that we purchased 5,000 shares of our own common stock at $30 cash per share. So to determine the purchase price, we take 5,000 shares and we multiply it by $30 per share, and that gives us $150,000. So on the financial statement effects templates, we would have a subtraction to cash for $150,000 for the purchase of the shares, and a subtraction from contributed capital for the same amount, $150,000. On our T accounts, we would have a credit to cash for $150,000 and a debit to treasury stock for $150,000. On June 25th, we sold 3,000 shares of treasury stock at $38 cash per share. So to determine the proceeds, we multiply 3,000 shares at $38 per share, and that gives us $114,000. We need to determine what the original cost of the treasury shares were, so we multiply 3,000 times the original cost per share of $30, and we get $90,000. So to determine the additional paid-in capital, we take the proceeds from the sale of the treasury stock and we subtract the original cost of $90,000. So that would give us additional paid-in capital of $24,000. And that on the financial statement effects templates, we would increase cash by $114,000 and we would increase contributed capital by the same amount. When we look at our T accounts, we would have a debit to cash for $114,000, a credit to treasury stock for $90,000, and a credit to additional paid-in capital for $24,000. On July 15th, we sold the remaining 2,000 shares of treasury stock at $29 per share. So to determine the proceeds, we take 2,000 shares and we multiply it by the $29 per share, and we get $58,000. We need to determine, though, what the original cost of the shares was. So we take 2,000 shares and we multiply it by the original cost per share of $30, and that gives us $60,000. So to determine the additional paid-in capital, we take the proceeds, which was $58,000, and we subtract the original cost of $60,000, and that gives us a negative amount for additional paid-in capital of $2,000. On our financial statement effects templates, we would increase cash by $58,000 and we would increase contributed capital by the same amount. On our T accounts, we see that we would have a debit to cash for $58,000, a debit to additional paid-in capital for $2,000, and a credit to treasury stock for $60,000. And that is the completion of the demonstration for exercise 837.